What's the first place you'd want to invest into if you are a first-time investor or if you wanted something that is not as risky or as volatile? I would say one of the best assets you could go into is bonds. And for those who are in Africa, you are blessed to have such opportunities and amazing opportunities in the debt securities world in Africa. The bonds in Africa have had amazing yields, even though they are not rated as highly, but I'm not going to get into the ratings here because that's a subject for another day, which could also have some political issues within it. We are not going to worry so much about how they are rated internationally. We are going to worry about what are the returns you get from these bonds. The bonds we're going to be focusing on are treasury bonds. So right now, we're just going to be looking at some of the best bonds in Africa. Basically, which African countries offers the best yields when it comes to bonds market. And this is one of the best markets you can get into. Like I said, if you're a new investor or if you're someone who do not want to deal with the volatility of the market, or you're just looking to diversify your portfolio. So for those of us who are in the diaspora, it's a great place to start when you start investing back at home, or when you want to get back into the African market and start investing in the assets there. I do believe that this is one of the best investment opportunities we have. Does not require your presence, does not require someone to handle your money, does not require some management. Basically, it's a simple, efficient investment. The bond market in the West has not been the best. This, of course, someone would say is because the bonds in the West are A-rated or they're very highly rated compared to other bonds. But higher risk, higher returns, that's what they say, right? So our bonds in Africa could mean higher risks, but they do have much higher returns. And most of them have never defaulted anyway. So why not take the risks? If you are taking the risk of the stock market, which can tank at any time, which is very volatile, which can go down at any minute without any warning, then why would you not take the risk of investing in bonds in Africa, which, if we look at the statistics, have rarely failed? The treasury bonds or the government bonds have rarely failed to deliver. These are fixed income assets that will always deliver. Here at MoneyMatters, we talk about the money mindset, how to make that money, how to enjoy that money, how to manage that money, how to invest that money, and how to assure yourself of a lifetime of income. Basically, financial freedom. Today, we're going to be looking at one of the best assets you can start investing into as soon as possible. And we're going to be looking at some of the best yields in Africa. So I'm going to tell you this country has some of the best rates and what rates do they have. So if you are in the diaspora or if you are in Africa and you're looking to other countries or you're looking at the best bonds, we have established right here on this channel that 60 to 70% of those who invest in our bonds in Kenya, where I come from, are actually foreigners. Individual investors are actually foreigners. Of course, there will be institutional investors because they are investing people's money, but individual investors in treasury bonds are just less than 60%. Most of them are foreigners. We need to take advantage of these opportunities and ensure that we can get something out of our own assets. We call them debt securities. So basically, you are lending your money to someone else, and in this particular case, it's the government. You're giving your government some money. They're going to complete some projects or some deficits that they could have on their budgets, and then they give you back that money. It's a fixed income asset in that if the money is taken and fixed for a period of time, you are paid the same amount of money based on the coupon rate or on the agreed percentage. Most of the time, government bonds run between 5 years, some go up to 30 years. So depending on, again, how long you want to fix your money. So of course, when you're choosing government bonds, you want to consider certain things, right? If you go into a country and you want to invest in their bonds, you want to look at the rate of returns. How good are those bonds, right? Number two, you also want to look at the stability of the country, the economic stability of that country, the political stability of that country. You want to look at the historical returns. Have they always paid? Have they defaulted before? How are they handling their debts? You want to look at a few things before you decide on which country are you actually going to invest in or fix your money in. Most of the time, I do say, if the country has not defaulted before, they will most likely pay you. And this is a very good source of income, again, for those looking for other investment sources of income. Again, you also want to look at taxes. All these bonds sometimes have taxes. In Kenya, for example, the infrastructure bonds have no taxes, but the normal bonds or the fixed deposit bonds have taxes. So again, you want to look at which particular bond are you buying. Does it have taxes? What is the rate? For example, in Kenya, you could find that there are different tax rates for different periods. So you need to check which country are you going to, what is the tax rate, and is it based on the period you are fixing the bond? So these are things you would want to look into before you go investing in any particular bond. So without further ado, let's look at the bond market and which ones are the best and what are the rates that we're expecting. Of course, I'll start with my own country, Kenya. Kenya is one of the best places to invest in bonds. The bond rates in Kenya are quite high and very good returns, and the country has never defaulted on its bonds, at least not on domestic debt. The economy is growing quite fast. Things are opening up. The bond market has done quite well. The government is opening infrastructure, and that means there's a lot of domestic borrowing. Kenya has always paid a rate of 12 to 14%, depending again on the duration you are fixing it and the type of bond that the government is offering. So 12 to 14%, that's quite a stable amount if you are getting back on your money. Remember, even if you are to invest in the stock market averagely over a long time, you are expecting around the same amount. So why not invest in a safe asset where you are sure of getting something in return and your principal amount is always safe? So of course, like I said, for diversification, and it has to match your goals. So Kenya is one of the best when it comes to the bond market. The bonds are offered by Central Bank of Kenya. Taxes, like I said, range between 10% to 15%, depending on, again, the period you're fixing that money. The fixing period is between 5, 20, 30 years, and it depends again on the particular bond. Most of them go from 5 all the way up to 30, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30 years. And then the next one is Uganda. Uganda has had very good rates of return, up to 15%. And please remember, this is based on local currencies. So it depends on how you want to invest it. That's one thing you want to know. If you are in Africa, you'd want to know that these rates are based on local currency value. So in Uganda, the bonds give a yield between 14 and 16%, one of the best. Sometimes I wonder why someone would want to look for some other weird investments while you have something giving you way higher. So Uganda gives between 14 and 16%. It's done it for a while now. Very stable, very good country in terms of the economy growing, expanding. It's a developing country. Of course, people will say that it's lowly rated as a bond based on the international standards of the Standard and Poor rating. But these are our countries. We know why we're investing in them. We know that they don't fail us. As long as they give back our money, they pay you. You cannot take too much care of what the international people or the media or whatever the rating agency is saying. And then I would go to South Africa. South Africa has managed to give a yield of between 9 and 10%. That is really good for an economy as strong as South Africa. As a country, most people rate it between a developing country and a developed country. So for South Africa, the yield has been between 9 and 10% on the government bonds offered by the central bank in that particular country. So if you wanted to invest in South African bonds, if 9 is good for you, 9 to 10%, then you're good. For the 10-year bond yield, it is 9.6 something, which is averagely 10%. So with South Africa, we're looking at an average of 10%. A good country, very stable economy. You know how South Africa has done so far when it comes to just ensuring that their economy stays very strong. Even though it has had some political issues, the bond market in South Africa has been quite stable. So if you want to invest in South Africa, that's an opportunity for you. If you love the country, if you love the other stuff about it, then why not go and enjoy the bonds of 9 to 10%? Then we have Zambia, which is one of the highest in Africa. Zambia once defaulted in its Eurobond, but Zambia has always offered really good rates with regards to bonds. Now, I'm not saying that one default would mean that it's now bad. People have been earning money so many times. It's just like the stock market, for example. The stock market has gone down and crashed how many times? So many times. We still invest in the stock market anyways, and we still make money. So Zambia had some issues with bonds some time back, but it has always offered the best interest rates in Africa. Or I would say one of the best, not the best, but one of the best based on the value of the dollar. So in this case, if I say the best, I'm going to base it on the value of the dollar. For a 2-year bond, for example, it has offered 9% as a coupon rate. For 3 years, it has offered 10%. For 5 years, it has offered 11%. For 7 years, it gave 12%. For 10 years, it gave 13%. And for 15 years, was a 14% coupon rate. Now, that shows you how good the market has been. That shows you how good Zambia has been with regards to its bond market. Those are some amazing rates. Even the stock market sometimes could fail to give you that. And remember, this is sure money. Then we go to Nigeria. one of the biggest economies in Africa, very serious about the economy right now. They have been trying to get it right. I know there have been some political issues in Nigeria. There have been some economic instability, but Nigeria is still a big economy. So if you want to invest in Nigeria, what are you looking at in terms of bonds? You are looking at up to 12.5%, which is averagely 13% for bond. And that is just still very good. So if you are in Nigeria, if you are in Africa, you want to invest in Nigeria, if you're in the diaspora, if you are a foreigner, you're expecting around 12.5 to 13% for the bond yield. That's a 10-year yield. So it could go higher depending on the amount of time you're going to fix that bond, or depending on the amount of time the government requires your money. So with 12%, that's still quite high, even compared to Zambia and the other countries that I've mentioned. Then we have Egypt with 15%. That is amazing. That's just awesome. Imagine getting 15% assured money. And Egypt has a very strong currency, very strong economy, very predictable. Of course, there have been some political issues in Egypt, but the country has managed to rebound quite well. And the bond market is amazing. At 15%, it's one of the best in Africa. And that's a 10-year bond yield. So if you're fixing your money for 10 years, you're likely to get 15 point something percent. Of course, these are averages because sometimes they fluctuate based on the economy, but we're looking at the averages here. So Egypt can give up to 15%. Of course, it can down up to 12%, but most of the time, averagely, it's at 15%. That is an amazing rate of return on the bonds. Compared to what people get in the West, in everywhere else in the world, that is quite high. Then one of my favorite countries, Tanzania. Very stable, very good, gives a range of 11 to 15 years depending on the period of the bond. In Tanzania, they fix them between 2 and 20 years. And just like any other country I've mentioned, the bond is fixed at that particular rate. So if you fix it at 10%, it's 10% the whole time. If you fix at 15%, it's the whole time. Tanzania gives you a rate of between 11% and 15% depending on how long you're fixing your money. Tanzania's economy has been growing consistently. The country is doing amazing, lots of exports. And you know, the political system has been very stable, very structured, and the system has been taking care of business in there. A very fast expanding economy and a very vital economy in East Africa. So if you want to look into the East African region and you don't like Kenya, you don't like Uganda, then Tanzania is available for you to go and invest into. And remember, this is based on local currency. So 11% to 15%. This is amazing. This is an amazing rate of return. And last but not least is Ghana at 13% average. Ghana is again one of the best economies in Africa, growing quite fast, lots of exports. The political stability there is ace. So Ghana is a fast expanding economy and you expect just the best in that country. Ghana has been doing quite well with regards to the bonds. It's not defaulted. So with 13%, Ghana is one of the top countries in Africa in terms of bond yields. An average of 13%, of course, depending on how long you're fixing the money. And with Ghana, I can even mention that their treasury bills have really had good returns. So these are some of the best countries in Africa where you could get the best rates. So we have looked at some of the top countries in Africa where you could get the best bond yields. So depending on what you want, depending on where you want to invest, depending on how you value your money, depending on what you feel about a particular country, and of course where you live and where you have access to easily, you want to invest and you want to know how much you're expecting. The bond market in Africa is one of the best in the world. Basically, I would say the best in the world. It's an amazing place to make money, an amazing place to conserve wealth, an amazing place to have some extra source of income. So what are you waiting for? Get to Africa and start investing in the bond market, basically debt securities, okay? Guys, let me know what you think. If you're from one of these countries, let me know. If there's more information you'd want to give, feel free. Comment, share, like, and please subscribe. Thank you guys. See you next time.